Here is something that the Daily Caller had that drew my attention. Exclusive, writes Peter Hassan. 9/11 moment of silence moved up because Obama was impatient. A moment of silence remembering the September 11 victims at a Pentagon memorial service began early in order to accommodate a restless President Obama, a Defense Department official told the Daily Caller. A source close to the situation told the D.C. that Obama arrived early to the memorial service, which took place at the Pentagon, and wanted to get things started early. A Department of Defense official confirmed that the moment of silence was moved up a few minutes, that Obama was the one who made the decision, saying the president moved early. The moment of silence was originally slotted to take place at 9:37 a.m., the time at which the Pentagon was attacked on 9/11, but ended up taking place a few minutes earlier. After the moment of silence, Obama gave a speech about the need to honor the 3,000 victims of September 11. The question before us, as always, is, how do we preserve the legacy of those we lost? How do we live up to their example? How do we keep their spirit alive in our hearts, the president said. We're resolved to continue to do everything in our power to protect the country that we love, and today we once again pay tribute to these patriots and so forth. So Obama was in a hurry. It's like playing golf. He wanted to get this over with so he could move on to his next important task, which is what? Playing golf? Something to that effect. Deborah Burlingame heard the speech that Obama gave at the Pentagon early on 9/11. Here's what she said about Obama's speech. This speech was offensive to me from top to bottom. And Obama read it cold, as if someone handed it to him in the limo on the way over from the White House. Standing there with me were dozens of 9/11 relatives wearing red, white, and blue ribbons, but also men and women wearing blue ribbons who numbered just as many, maybe more. These were the survivors, the rescuers, the people who were in the building 15 years ago, many of whom got out by the grace of God or because some hero risked his life, maybe died saving them and others. The Pentagon was a fire so hellacious, the equivalent of 5 buildings fed by tens of thousands of gallons of jet fuel, and the same wood, paper, curtains, and carpet that fed the fire at the World Trade Center, that it burned for 24 hours at temperatures exceeding 1,500 degrees. An entire section collapsed 18 minutes after the jet penetrated the building. But Obama's speechwriter, perhaps one of those lazy Americans Obama recently complained about in Laos, wrote a speech which suggested he went online and simply Googled 9/11 heroes. So here's what Obama had to say to the Pentagon families and the physically, emotionally scarred survivors who risked everything for their fellow human beings. Quote, as I mark this solemn day with you for the last time as president, I think of Americans whose stories I've been humbled to know these past 8 years, Americans who, I believe, embody the true spirit of 9/11. Wallace Crowder, just 24 years old in the South Tower. The man in the red bandana, who spent his final moments helping strangers to safety before the towers fell. It's the resilience of the firehouse on 8th Avenue, patriots who lost more than a dozen men, but who still suit up every day as the pride of Midtown. It's the love of a daughter, Peyton Wall of New Jersey, whose father in his last moments on the phone from the towers told her, I will always be watching over you, unquote. Get it? It was all those acts of courage at the World Trade Center, which Obama wants us to believe he was thinking about as he stood just a few feet away from where a jumbo jet hit the building at the Pentagon at 530 miles per hour 15 years ago and rained horror down on those people standing right in front of him. I wanted to yell out, well, why don't you also talk about the heroes at the Pentagon? She said, I'll let you read the rest of his speech, if you can stand it. It's all this stuff about our patchwork heritage, not letting ISIS stroke fear and divide us as a nation. No, Mr. President, this is what you don't get. Terrorist attacks unite us as a nation. You, not ISIS, are the divisive element who repeatedly tries to stoke resentment among us, to create enough anger that we'll turn on each other in service of your project to change who we are and how we live. I would rather have spent the hour simply listening to the U.S. military band play America the Beautiful, Amazing Grace, and then fanfare to the common man, than be subjected to your shallow, cliche-ridden performance, still crowing about bin Laden's death and the, quote, devastating blows to al-Qaeda, unquote, like a mental deficient operating on muscle memory, while the chaos around the world continues to spread. Deborah Burlingame, whose older brother, Charles Chick Burlingame, was the pilot of American Flight 77. He and his co-pilot murdered. The terrorist hijacked the plane and then flew it into the Pentagon. Incredibly articulate and right on. Now you know why I had her on Levin TV on Friday and Sunday for our programs there. Very, very important.